22.
Try to write them down. You don't write them down, you just read them on the screen. That is the instruction. So your time starts now.
Elliot. Prepared to chase anything.
Okay. Who is going to tell me every word? I'll give you $5 if you tell me every word. $10 for grab.
Keep it going, sir.
Can I talk?
No,
I want to increase the amount.
If I increase the amount, there is another exercise. As we go along, then I always say,
Okay, can I talk?
okay, I'm listening, sir.
Non-athlon, biathlon, ecosathlon, aquathlon, decathlon, pentathlon, duathlon, triathlon, tetrathlon, hexathlon, heptathlon, and prodathlon.
I know you've added something that is not there because you know that series. So you added something that was not there. But anybody else?
I don't think I really had anything. I think
anybody else? You said?
I think I was.
Yeah, I think you were right. We check again. Anybody else?
Okay. Non-athlon, biathlon, ecosathlon, aquathlon, decathlon, pentathlon, duathlon, triathlon, tetrathlon, hexathlon, heptathlon, and quadrathlon.
Let me show us again. I want everybody to be able to do this. Okay, for those who could not, now, my next instruction for those who could not try, let me give you a hint. Look to see if there is a pattern. I won't time you this time around. Check if there is a pattern. Look for a pattern.
You've timed us, you removed it.
Yes, I will remove it, but I just want you to check if there is a pattern.
Well, the end with the same, like a prefix or something.
Yes, so try it now. Alexander. Now try it.
Okay, do you want me to say it in the order it should be or the order you put it there?
Yes, I wanted to do my order, but now I won't allow you again. I've left it too long. Okay, let's look at this thing. Look at the pattern. If you've seen, ask those two brothers who got it almost right, what they did. Aside from, is it that you know the series or you see, you get the pattern? What is the pattern here?
Okay. I think it's athlon.
It's 1 to 12.
Jazakallah khair.
But it's not, I don't think it is arranged the way it's supposed to be.
Yes, it's not arranged the way it's supposed to be. Then I put some confusion there. Which one will be 2? It's not 1 to 12 actually. Which one will be 2? Is it duathlon or biathlon?
Biathlon.
Even quadrathlon is like.
Yes.
Biathlon too. I think it's a prayer.
So that is for those who knew the approach. So the duathlon is to confuse them actually. But you see, what I just did for us now is what we do to students. Impromptu test. This is your first lesson in critical thinking. If you are trying to memorize this thing, it will give you a problem. If you can see a pattern, then you don't need to memorize.
Yeah.
Now let's get into it. I said I'm going to facilitate a discussion. Let's start from the most common word in the topic, sustainability. What do we mean by sustainability? Let's just pick on the popular definition, meeting the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet theirs. Almost everybody here will have had this. It's a UN generation of sustainable development. That's a development that happens in such a way that you get what you want. As a people from the planet or from the environment, you get your profits, but you are not compromising. Why? Because the resources are just one and they are limited. And we want you to use them, live fine, but don't deplete the resources. So how does this apply to career? What is the resources? What resources are we depleting here? Let's quickly move down, since I was asked to make it a brief discussion. What is a sustainable career? An article in Harvard Business School says it's such work that you do over time, and it makes full use of your skill, and it challenges you to develop new skill. You find it interesting, it gives meaning to your life. You are always developing, and most importantly, you are able to fit work together with other things in your life that are important to you, like family, friends, and leisure. That is a sustainable career. I have a question here. How true is this? Is this the way our career are at the moment? Tola Shugbeson should not talk. He's not an academic. I know that for you. Sure.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, somebody says, but Hameed Olabode Ojugbele says it's not true. We agree to this. This is how our career has. Okay, let me give you my own definition. A definition I found somewhere that I love. Of what a career is. That probably shows our careers currently. Somebody says far from the truth. Okay, let's look at this. Somebody says a career is an affliction whose symptoms are loss of life and liberty, general purpose mystery, and resentment towards those who are unaffected by that mystery. It says it's an euphemism for professional labor camp. What do you think about this? Does this capture a career? Okay, I assume we all know what Urban Dictionary is. It's just a collection of satires, but this is how somebody in Urban Dictionary defines career. Career. Now, but the purpose, what we all want is the first definition. Something that speaks to the first definition is what we all aspire to have. So, when we talk about career for academics, what does this mean? One, more often than not, yes, some people venture to academia because they could not get a job. A lot of people. But to stay there is usually a deliberate choice. It's because you are passionate about it. Most academics that prosper are those who are passionate, who made that deliberate thing that I want to be poor. Yeah, who made that deliberate decision that, hello, I want to be poor, so I'm going to be an academic. And it's never an easy part. It's a part in a place where they have a thriving academic enterprise. It's a part where you have the culture of overcommitment and overwork. It's a culture. It's the way of life. With the work at home, everybody complains they have been overworked, working from home. But I think we have it in academic. We have it worse. I hold meeting with students 8 p.m., 9 p.m. in the night. They're asking questions. My line manager, we have Zoom meeting 11. I sent him an email. Then he sent another one. And before we know it, we both agree we are going to have a Zoom meeting by 11 p.m. I was doing a research work with COVID with some guys from US, and just imagine working with somebody in US. Then you can imagine with 6 hours time difference, what will be happening? So it's a part where you won't survive without resilience. And remember, with all this, we say Just take the part that there's a culture of overcommitment and overworking in academic. And it's only you, just one mind, just one body. That is where the definition of sustainability comes in. That how do you do all these things with your one mind, your one body, without going crazy? How do you do it? How do you survive and thrive in such an environment? And many of us are in it for the long haul. And so to make it worse, an average academic has unlimited objectives. In fact, for you to thrive as an average academic, you need to have, the objectives are always unlimited. Maybe I should pause here and ask us, anybody here, those who are working in academic here now, what is your objective? Give me some of your objectives. Some of those things you want to get done. Some of those things you want to see done. Give me some of them. We can say it out to be fast rather than type in. What are the objectives of a typical academic? Your goals, your objective. To make it easy for you, let me show you a list. It's not exhaustive. I just type things as they come to my mind. Then you tell me what you want to take out of the list or what you want to add to it. You read. I won't time this, but I'll take it away at my own time. And I won't give you a price for this. Developing and maintaining useful networks. You just need networks as academic. You won't grow if you don't have it. You need network. You are going to have students. It starts from, I don't know the culture in Nigeria, but around here, when I set questions, even tests, I need to give to somebody in my field to moderate, to look at the stage. The objectives of that course is are the questions speaking to them? Is the structure of the assessment appropriate for that level of study and everything? That is the list. And I can tell you so many things that you will not move if you do not have professional network in academic. You want to be an excellent teacher, you want to know how to teach, you want to publish, you want to be a good colleague, you want to mentor others, you want to be a successful leader. If you do not have academic leadership experience, your career is going to stagnate at a point. In fact, it won't be, most universities will tell you you can be a professor if you've not been an HOD, you've not been an academic leader, a course coordinator, and what have you. Their students need to respond to. You want to secure research funds, you want to generate research ideas, you want to keep your skills up to date. Anybody want to add anything? Yeah, some of these subjects are not for academics, but academics,
you want to go on sabbatical?
You want to go on sabbatical, jazakallah khair. What else? We want to add anything to the list?
You want to go to other university to go and add value to their academics?
Jazakallah khair.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Yeah, maybe attending international conferences too.
Yes. You want to do knowledge dissemination. You want to check your skill with other in conferences. You want to mentor.
What about supporting international agencies?
That's another thing you want to do. The lists are limited. What you want to achieve as academic, for you to be a successful academic. But let's pause here and think. For it to be sustainable, you can't do all those things. But you need to ask yourself certain questions. Which of these are your top 5 objectives at the moment? How well are you getting on with them? How are you getting it done? The manner, the approach you are using today, do you think you won't break down if you keep on, you stick to that approach for the next 5 years, for the next 10 years? Yes, with emotion, with our youthful virality and a whole lot of things. We could do crazy things, unimaginable things, but for how long? These are some of the questions when we talk about, sustainability. These are some of the questions we want to answer. These are some of the questions we want to answer. Now, let's pause on the question of of career sustainability and venture to the other part of the thought, which is critical thinking. Thinking is about life. We all appreciate the power of thinking. We've been told from our undergraduate days, we've been asked to think about things. But who has received a formal training in thinking here? Who has done a course on thinking?
I've done a certificate course.
In thinking?
Yes, it's called root cause analysis.
I know, it's not thinking. Root cause analysis is not thinking.
Thinking is part of it.
You're saying it's part of it. I'm saying who has done a formal training on thinking? Yet we are expected to think. It's a few things. Actually, okay, I teach a 40-hour module known as systems thinking. And I could remember in one of the classes, after I think, I taught them, and during debriefing, somebody looked at me, the most gentle guy in the class, the most humble guy, looked at me and said, it's actually an Nkosi, a traditional chief in South Africa. It's a traditional chief. And when we say chief, in South African usage, you are talking of kings. They are kings. But here, they only recognize the imperial majesties like Oni of Ife. What do you call this one? This Babat Oyo.
Alaafin of Oyo.
Alaafin. Here, they only call those two kings in South Africa. They want, in a quadrant of the country, they just want one king. So other junior kings are being referred to as chief. So he's a king. He looked at me in the face and told me that you guys are wicked. That's don't think I will clap for you if everybody's doing it. And I said, what? He said, this is my second postgraduate degree. I think it was a master's class or so. And this is where anybody is teaching me how to think in a structured manner. What happened to high school? What happened to my undergraduate days? What happens to my honors? So the thing is, very few of us have gone through a formal training in thinking. And this talk is not about, I'm not going to tell you or give you pointers on how to think, unfortunately. So I pointed out a problem, and I'm not going to provide a solution for you. So the way we are dealt with is, especially if we are adults, that we already know how to think, especially postgraduate students. We set questions, we ask them to think critically, to apply their mind, to do this, but we never taught them how to think. So we never taught them how to think. Nobody is teaching anybody. And thinking, our life, a lot in our life revolves around thinking. Now, let's play a game. The diagram you see on the board has got statements represented as visuals. Get the statement. I will pick the smallest one, the easiest one, and tell you what it means. That's not what we do as teachers. We give simple example. This means small talk. Check the font size. It's the smallest font size there. So small talk. That is what the diagram represents, small talk. Anybody else? Now that $10, I will send it now. In fact, I send it, I will ask you if you have a crypto wallet. If you get all of this,
Number
if
19.
you get all of this, no timing.
Number 19, see for yourself.
See, Jazakallah khair. See for yourself.
Number 11, crossbreed.
Jazakallah khair. Jazakallah khair. That's what an Arab man will say. Okay, I'm not Arab, so I'm allowed to make the mistakes. Jazakallah khair. Read.
Underage.
Number
2.
Number 2. What's it?
Middle age.
Jazakallah khair. Now we're getting it right.
Number 4.
Yes, it's the easiest thing.
Chief editor.
Benny.
How is it chief editor?
Number
Number 9.
16, top secret.
Number kini,
16. Yeah.
16.
That's it. See, that's
Number
what we get
10,
when we
small talk.
Number
10, small talk.
Number 8, forget it.
yes, forget it.
Please, can somebody explain that?
What is number 14?
11 is crossbreed.
Yeah, somebody said that before. Your sister has got that.
Oh, so I just
Number 14. Oh no.
Sideshow.
16 top secret.
Somebody got that before you. Your sister got that before you. Let me say it boldly. Your sister got it.
Number 7, tennis.
What do you call it?
Number 2 is
That is the one I thought nobody will get. Yazakillah khair.
Number
That was my
20,
joker.
Jack in the box.
No, number 7 was my. You
Jack
said
in the box.
Jack in the box. Yeah. But I must be Oyinbo.
I can show you.
That's an expression that is not common. What's number 5? That's another easy one. That's another easy one. If I tell you that, I will take the rest away.
That pin. Pin.
No.
C
C for 2. What's number 12?
Red.
No. We're not ready.
Water.
Drop.
That is the Ojoro to one. What's number 8?
I thought somebody has answered number 8.
Nobody did.
Morality.
No.
Somebody said number 8 sometime again, man.
And the master number 8, go repeat here.
So
let me give you an hint on number 8. Do not read the eyes as a letter. Read the eyes as an object, as objects.
Moral pillar.
Okay, close to it. Moral support.
Moral support. Okay. Oh, there was number 5.
Number 5. I just saw T for 2.
Oh, okay, yeah. That's
I mean T for 4. I mean
T
for 2,
for
sorry.
2.
T for 2. Yeah. And you see, we say sometimes that as teachers, we must retain some mark. Let me take my slide away before you get everything. But there are some, well, there are many, if not,
Number 15, travel 60. Travel 60s.
No.
Travel overseas.
Overseas.
Oh, overseas. Okay.
Take it away. I think smart with you for me.
Please, number 1. I want to talk about number 1, please.
What's number 1?
Number 14, sideshow.
Big decision or space decision? I don't know.
Big decision, you are correct. Number 6, bigger and better.
Yeah.
Big and better.
Hello?
So we just try to think so that we wake up, we will not be sleeping. So critical thinking, what is it? Is there anything like critical thinking? Is this just an hype or a serious concept? Because we all say it. You're doing critical thinking, we're doing critical thinking, and you see, sometimes you see not so intelligent outcome. Yes, sir. Somebody want to say something? Go on, sir.
No, you can continue.
Okay. So I went to the literature. I found so many definitions of critical thinking. I said, oh, so it's a scientific thing. You read it. I won't read any of them to you. But if you check all these things, why you read? It's just telling you They are all speaking to the same thing. Somebody says it's a general context independent set of skills. It involves judgment, analysis, evaluation, inference, and attitude, inquisitive, well-informed, open-minded. This actually is this guy was summarizing definition of critical thinking by like 6 other people. Somebody said critical thinking is the use of your cognitive skills or strategy that increases the probability of desirable outcome. It is used to describe thinking when it is purposeful, it is reasoned, and it is goal-directed. So this type of thinking will not only give you solution to problem, it will offer you a number of solutions, it will formulate inferences, it will calculate what could go wrong, then makes a decision. Somebody says, no, it's just what we do in empirical studies. It's formal reasoning, argument analysis, thinking as hypothesis testing. I kind of like that. Somebody says, no, it's a broad term that describes reasoning in an open-ended manner and with an unlimited number of solutions. It involves constructing a situation and supporting the reasoning that went into that conclusion. If you go into the textbooks, so many writing, you will see it's like this. It's like this. For a mind like me that is not critical, I try to come up with my own definition of what critical thinking is. And I think it is thinking in a structured way. Once you think in a structured way, you are doing critical thinking. It's a form of intelligent thinking, and it could take many forms. Like I said, it is the structure. The most important thing about it is that, one important thing about it is it involves thinking about your own thinking. It's like, I'm thinking, how do I think? Think about how you think. Then your thinking will be critical. So in essence, we're saying we want to think in a conscious and controlled manner. And critical thinking, again, is critical thinking. Then the question is, what is critical in critical thinking? If you know why they use the word critical with thinking, then you will get it. Critical in critical thinking just stands for one word, evaluation. Critical thinking has an evaluation component. If you check all those definitions, they could have used different expression, but there's always an evaluation component. That is the critical part of thinking. When your thinking is evaluative, somebody puts it in a way. It says, when you're thinking about something, ask the question. When you come to a conclusion, you ask yourself, why that conclusion? When you find the reason, you ask yourself, why? When I said, by the time you ask 3 times, then your reason will be more, your thinking will be more structured. So, though usually when we speak about critique or evaluation, when you say somebody is critical, that sign up is critical minded, I mean, we have this negative connotation about it that she condemns everything. But ideally, critiquing things should be an objective exercise during which we should both the positives, through which we show both the positive and the negative. So when we say we think critically, we are evaluating the outcomes of our thought process. We think, okay, this is how we do. We now go on to evaluate it. How good a decision have we made? And how well will it solve the problem? Will it solve the problem? In system sciences, where we talk about systems thinking, we say no. You ask yourself, is there a feedback effect of that decision, either now or later? Either now or after some time, after what we call a time delay, that you factor in the impact. There's a graphic, at the die minute I decided not to put it here, will have helped to explain what I just said. So in a nutshell, critical thinking is a structured way of thinking. It's just intelligent thinking. And by intelligence, sorry, my own definition of intelligence is not that definition of intelligence that when you do your IQ test, no, that is a suboptimal way of measuring intelligence. Somebody says intelligence is that deeper and broad capability for you to interact with your environment and make meaning of your environment. not some quantitative aptitude that we measure in IQ tests. So before we go, what does Quran also tell us about critical thinking? I'm not going to go into that. This is not a talk, but Islam tells us to do tafakkur. And in essence, Islam says we analyze, we evaluate situation, and we synthesize what we read so that we can always develop effective solutions or responses. And you see, if you go online to check critical thinking in Islam, you're going to see a whole lot of funny things. People will tell you, no, Islam is a dogma. It doesn't encourage critical thinking. No, that is absolute untrue. Islam encourages you to do critical thinking. You think, you evaluate, you reevaluate and reevaluate. But Islam wants us to understand that there is a balance, there is role of faith and there is role of rationalism. It's not everything that we can know. Despite our critical thinking, despite the myriad of publication and scientific work on critical thinking, everybody knows that as human beings, we have cognitive limitations. So we can't understand everything. And that is why we have faith. Some things we cannot understand them. And even within faith, a whole lot of things in faith, we can apply rationalism to them and we say, oh, this is the logic behind this, this is the logic behind this. The way to see things is that as Muslims, we will never find unreasonable thing, irrational thing in our faith. But we can find things in our faith that we may not be able to rationalize, that we may not understand. But to find what is illogical, we won't find it. And when I say critical thinking lies at the boundary of faith and rationalism, let's look at the night before the Battle of Badr, a conversation between Hubab bin Munzir and the Prophet. Prophet took a position. Hubab told him, he asked him, said, "Oh, you Prophet of Allah, is this a revelation from Allah?" Prophet said, "No, no, this is my own judgment that we should stay here." He said, no. This point is not strategic. We'll be shooting ourselves in the foot. And he gave Prophet ﷺ strategic analysis on why they should take a different position. And the Prophet went with his idea. You see, first thing he checked was, what is the source? The source is not from Allah. Okay, I can engage with this. Then he brought an alternative solution. That is critical thinking at a very critical point for the Muslims. When we check another use of critical thinking, I'll just give us two in the Quran. The believer in the house of Firaun, there was a Muslim in the house of Firaun. When Firaun decided, I'm going to kill Musa, we're going to kill that boy for the first time. This is the believer who believed in Musa. He wants to protect his faith, which Musa represents. But then he knows how much evil Firaun could unleash. So immediately think through, should I leave Musa to go? Then this faith will die. That's an implication. Should I stop Firaun? Yes, but how? If I stop Firaun, yes, I should stop Firaun. But if I stop Firaun, what will be the implication? I'm going to die before Musa died. So immediately, he came up with the suitable, with an apt response. He told Firaun, Firaun, we use troop to the level of killing a man just because he says one Allah is Lord. If he is lying, then let it be. He's lying. Yorubas will say that when you have, if you plow or if you plant 15 tubers of yam and you say it is 30, when you are done eating 15 that exists, then the imaginary 15 you will starve while eating them notionally. So he said no. Firaun thought, yes, it's not worth my time, really. Who is it is different that and Allah somewhere is him. You see, that is product of very critical thinking. We all know I won't go into it, the story of Namrud and Ibrahim. Now, let's go back to sustainability. Let's try to link it. If you see my outline, I said we link it. We link both critical thinking and sustainability. But let's do a sustainability check. Individual, answer this question on your own. Don't tell me your answer. As an academic, where you currently work, do you think your top 5 career goals that I ask you to choose initially, do you think they are achievable? Do you think the structure both the physical and notional structure in that institution will help you achieve it. The commitment that you've placed on yourself, the one that your contract and your organization have placed on you, do you think it is easy to fulfill them? Do you have an academic mentor? Are you encountering any, sorry, there's a typo there, any specific challenge or barriers in your career? How rewarding do you find your work? Teachers in Nigeria, please don't talk. And how stressful it is, you can talk. So, let's do what we did before again. Let's have a list of the challenges we face as academics. Let me make it easy for us, like I did the first time. Like I made the first time, I created the list. Then I expect also add on to this list. So let's add on to the list, understanding the system within which you work. You will always find yourself in the deep end. Both the formal structure and the informal, the political structure, everything makes it. Employment contract is another problem. In Nigeria, this is one big thing. One good, I think is a good area in Nigeria. Most academics in Nigeria, even if the pay is poor, the contract is stable, it's clear. There are many forms of contract out here, out there. Contract that's, make you a temp, but you won't know. The requirements of the job are not always clear. Tell you whatever, they will just, you will do academic work, you will do mentoring, you will assist postgraduate students. To what extent, in what way, nobody tells you. The requirements always change, the workload is unpredictable. So you can't stick to plans, to your personal plan. Expectations are high and unrealistic. Meeting students is very complex. It may not, yes, this may be another thing that is not very complex in Nigeria. You can bully students out here there. The students are the boss. They are the bosses. Mentors are scarce. And nobody cares to give you performance. But they tell you when lack of funding for research. What else? Let's add to it. But the question is, does this mean that we will not work? Does this mean that we give up? Take your mind back to the story of the believer in the house of Pharaoh. Yes, there were challenges, there were serious obstacles, threats to life. If he dare confront Pharaoh, threats to his faith, if he allowed Pharaoh to kill Musa. But what did he do? He applied his mind. So if we apply our mind, do you think that can help us navigate this? The first thing is, based on all that has been said, do we think critical thinking, do we think our career sustainability is important? Sorry. And what role can critical thinking play? Maybe we come back to this slide for discussion purpose. But let me give you my own answer. Yes. Career sustainability is important for two reasons. For you to have high performance and for your own well-being. You don't want to have high performance, and later you become depressed, you have anxiety, we have this disorder, that disorder. For you to be balanced and be a high performer, then the question of sustainability, how do we balance both? What is the role of critical thinking here? For you to grow in academic, you need to consistently do some introspection. And this is asking the how and why of your own scholarly approaches and endeavor. The same thing you want to query your what am I doing at this? What am I achieving? What am I doing? What should I be doing? Where I am? Where should it take me? Then the question of evaluative thinking, maybe that's capture critical thinking better, will come in. Secondly, if you want to have a place in academia, then you need to develop higher order cognitive abilities. They're very important. Somebody says such thinking is central to both personal success and national needs. you think is your unique problem, the way they think about it is what drives their solution. So the way you think about problem determines what the problem will do to you. And the most important thing is, the biggest mark you can make in academic is not by being a teacher, but it's your contribution to the process of knowledge creation. Remember, everything you've learned, everything you and I know, everything everyone knows, they were created by someone. They were put there by someone. You learn geometry, Euclidean geometry, that means geometry as explained by that man. You learn your laws of motion in physics by Newton, that is motion as captured by Newton. You learn the one in optics, that is, who taught us light travel in straight line in high school physics? Another guy who didn't say, no, light travels in wave packet. Somebody came on board and said, no, I think through what they're all saying. Actually, they were both correct. Light travels in wave packet, but within that wave packet, each component of the wave packet travels in a straight line. So basic thing is that what I'm saying here is information will become knowledge when you make your own meaning out of it. And for you to make your own meaning out of information, then you need critical thinking. That is my take on the relevance, or how do you marry critical thinking to your career sustainability or academic endeavor. Then remember, critical thinking, another way to put it is about problem solving. It's about creative problem solving. And we've seen now that in your academic career, you have mirage of problems. So for you to solve them, you need to be creative. And this will be my parting gift to you. It's a scientific equation. I think it's Zainab, is this a reversible reaction or irreversible reaction? You get the right attitude.
I think
get the right attitude. Get the right attitude, knowledge, and thinking skill, and your thinking will be intelligent. Thank you very much for listening.
Jazakallah khairan for this. Really appreciate this discussion. Is there anyone that has question? And can you go back to the slide where you mentioned the two questions that you said we should think about? Okay. So please, is there anybody that has question to ask the lecturer? Questions, please. Or anything to add? Okay, walaikum salam, Mr.
Thank you very much for this session. Though the question is not really related to the session, but you said you studied engineering and you saw the lights. So which lights and what made you move from total sciences to the physical sciences? I don't know. But I really learned a lot from this session.
Okay, the light I saw was that, how do I put it? So that you will not knock me down. If your question is tricky, you want to attack me. Okay. Yes, I studied engineering. Then I discovered that I have got more to give the world than being a social scientist than being an engineer. Because you see, okay, guys, let me throw it back to you. Engineering deals with complicated problems. In life, people are dealing with complex problems. So I leave you with the difference. So social scientists to solve the complex problem. Engineers deal with complicated problem, and complicated problem always have solutions. You just need the technical knowledge to deal with them. They are usually technical problems, but the problems that deal with us, I mean, that is ruining the world. They are complex problems. They are problems that are created by purposive actors. So we need more people to go there In fact, there are problems where we don't say problem solving. We say we are doing systemic improvement. When you take one step forward, you take 5 backward. And you see, the problem of the world is increasing. So we need people to, so you too, you can see the light and follow me.
Okay, I think Hameed has a question also.
Yeah, thank you so much. This my question is this. That's okay. Is it a question of observation? So you said for being in the academic, one chooses to be poor. And I wanted to shed more light on that, please.
Don't take that as a joke. I'm just saying the normal thing that only Rachel teacher about is what the truth is.
It's true, there are some other careers that you actually make more money and it's not as stressful as academic.
Almost everywhere, we are at the low end.
Yeah.
When it comes to paycheck, trust me, we are at the low end when it comes to paycheck.
I think people have found a way around this, maybe combining academic with industrial work and some other.
We are moonlighting.
Consulting. What?
Because why I asked that question?
Yes, sir.
I asked that question. Okay, for example, I'm in the University of Ibadan. I work in the University of Ibadan. Okay. I work as a technical person, but most of the time I'm always working with the academics. And I see two distinct set of people in the academics. Those that are always complaining one thing or the other, as to strike, this or that, pay overwork. And another set that are always looking, they ride the best cars, they are the biggest boys on campus. Apparently, later I discovered that those are the guys who get grants in the system. And I keep wondering, why is it a few set of people are getting grants and the majority are not getting grants? What's the areas why? They chose not to get grants, or I mean, is it grants is now becoming a clique that if you're not in our clique, you can't get grants, or how is it working?
When you get research grant and you're driving big car, that is academic corruption. The most people that gives you grant, if you will get any money that goes into your pocket from your grant, it's money for project management. In fact, most people, agencies that give you grants or organizations, they make provision if you are using research students for you to pay them subsistence. You pay their school fees, you provide the material for the research, and you pay them subsistence. How many of those big boys we are talking about gives their students salaries? You will hardly find it. That is why they are driving those big cars. Almost everywhere in the world. I have contacts everywhere. In fact, my initial academic mentor, one lady, she's from Eastern Europe, but she's based in Canada. I remember one day she was fighting me over one thing. She told me, "You choose to do this, so do it right." Then she was mad at me over something. Then she told me, she said, "We all know we wanted to do this. That's why we're doing this." And she gave me an example. She said, "That's why being a very, very senior professor in Canada, if I train an MBA student today, their first job, their 1 month salary is like my 6 month salary." That's all women. You don't need to, even within universities, even within your university in Ibadan, go and check what does it take to be an assistant registrar or a registrar. It's not a PhD. And if you check their salary, they earn more money than all these PhD guys. It's everywhere. So it doesn't mean your take-home check will not take you, but it's a relative term. It doesn't necessarily mean it will make you poor, but it's a relative term. And then there are things we enjoy that people don't enjoy. I have autonomy of being wherever. For example, I'm currently in Cape Town. This is where I work. This is my first time in Cape Town this year, and I'm not going to go to my campus. Nobody else does that. I'll go back to my house tomorrow. I choose how I want to work. Nobody tells me how to structure my course. These are the objectives. Achieve it. So we have a whole lot of things that compensates for that. And if you like traveling, You can use, you'll be traveling everywhere in the world, and it is work. The money will always be there in this part of the world. Allah. The only thing is we can't use the money to buy cars, but we can use it to travel, rent cars, and I hope I answered your question, sir.
Yes, you did very well.
Okay, Jazakallah khairan. Is there any other question before we call it a day? Any other question, please? Okay, since there's no question, I would like to say Jazakallah khairan to Dr. Bode for this. Thank you very much. May Allah reward you abundantly. May Allah grant you success in this world and in the hereafter. And Jazakallah khairan to everybody that attended this discussion. If you are in the WhatsApp group, you can send the recording to you, inshallah. And with this, we come to the end of this month's discussion, inshallah, till next month for another interesting topic. And Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.